Hello, happy Memorial Day. I'm going to do a special Memorial Day show. So I saw some foreign people going, but your national anthem doesn't make much sense. So I'm going to explain it. The national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, was originally called the Battle of Fort McHenry. Okay, it was the battle that ended the War of 1812. There was one battle after that, but the peace had already been negotiated. The war was already over. The soldiers on both sides just didn't get the word. So Battle of New Orleans was after that, but the war was already over. Okay, so there was this doctor. Now, 250-ish years ago, there were not that many good doctors. Okay, not like now because they're evil and they just go along with the insurance companies and stuff, but because they didn't know that much about medicine. Okay, so if you had a good doctor, it was a big deal. Okay, so this doctor was taking care of both the British and the colonial soldiers who were injured. So the British were going to execute him for this. Okay, so people came to like Francis Scott Key, who was very prestigious, a lawyer, and said, can you please go and try to negotiate to save this doctor? Okay, so he did, and he went to a ship, and he went to the officer on the ship, and he said, listen, he takes care of anybody who's ill, anybody who's sick, anybody who's hurt. He takes care of the British just like he takes care of the others. Now, I can't read the minds of people who are in the past, but I'm assuming that the reason they let him go was like, you know what? If we don't let him go, then we're not going to have a good doctor either. Who knows what kind of quack we might get? Because there was a lot of variation in the quality of medicine. Okay, so they said, okay, we actually will let him go, and we will let you go. But we can't do it right now because we're about to have a battle. And if we let you go right now, you might go back and tell the enemy, like, how many cannons we had, how many men we have, and so forth. So we are going to let you go, and they did let him go, but you have to stay on the ship tonight. So Francis Scott Key and this doctor were on the ship of the enemy, watching the enemy on board Fort Henry. Now, you probably don't know that, like, the colonial soldiers almost always thought that they weren't actually going to win. Later in the years, they thought they would win, but like, say, when George Washington, there was one point where George Washington was going to have a battle, and he kept stalling, and he was like, I don't feel right taking these men into battle, okay, because they don't understand we can't win. Well, how George Washington came to be on their side was he was a British officer, okay, and they were supposed to make him a general. He had done some things, and they said, you do these things, we'll make you a general. And he did these things, and they were going to make him a general. So at the ceremony where they were supposed to, like, make him a general, they actually stripped him of his rank and threw him out of the army. Okay, so he's there, he's all proud, he thinks he's going to be, and they, like, stripped him of his rank and threw him out of the army because he wasn't British. Okay, so you can imagine how humiliated he was. Well, he says, I just can't take these men into battle because they don't understand enough about battle. They don't know that we can't win. And they said, we do know we can't win. Okay, we thought we were taking advantage of you because you were so humiliated. They're like, we know we can't win, but we're not going back to the way it was. Okay, so, you know, people didn't, after the Revolutionary War, other countries didn't even believe that we'd won because it was so impossible. Because they had a really, really, really superior army that nobody could win against. And we had, like, basically zero army, okay? It was just militia and stuff like that. So not only did the colonials think they couldn't win, but the British did, and the whole world was like, that didn't happen, okay? But the British weren't used to being shot at, okay? Everybody had guns in America, and everybody was really, really good with them because they were hunting with them, okay? You weren't allowed to hunt in Britain unless you were royalty, okay? You were actually not allowed to, okay? So people were really good because they're like, if I shoot that, I can eat that. If I don't shoot that, I can't eat that. My own father, who was a veteran, okay, used to hunt for squirrels with a shotgun. Okay, now let me explain how impressive this is. If you're going to hunt for a squirrel and eat it, okay, okay, so here's how a shotgun works in case you're not familiar. It sprays out a whole bunch of pellets like this. It has a wide range. That way you don't have to aim. You can just get everybody in the area, but also you have to get everybody in the area. So say you want to shoot this person, you don't want to shoot that person. No good for that. It has a, like, cartridges about this big, and it's full of a bunch of little, like, what look like ball bearings, and it shoots it and sprays them out in a wide range. Okay, so when you shoot a squirrel with a shotgun, Okay, you can only get one pellet, and it's got to be in the head. You can only get one pellet in the head, or the are so small that the meat will be fouled by the lead, and you won't be able to eat it. So if you get two pellets in the head, or if you get a pellet somewhere else, you won't be able to eat the squirrel because you'll get lead poisoning. Okay, so you have to take something that sprays a whole bunch of stuff like this, and you have to get far enough away that by the time it gets to the squirrel, the spray is so spread out, okay, that you're only going to get one pellet, and it's got to be right in the head. Okay, so you can imagine like what an expert marksman my father had to do that. Even two pellets in the head, it's no good. And he was like killing them for food. I mean, he was also killing them for target practice, but he wouldn't kill them if he couldn't eat them. You know what I'm saying? So this is the caliber of marksmanship that people who are hunting for food have, opposed to people who are just doing drills. Okay, so everybody in America was like this really fantastic marksman. Okay, and that's how we won. Okay, and everybody cared. I mean, if you're going because you have to go, you don't want to die. Okay, if you're going because you want your freedom, then you'll take a risk. Okay, anyway, so the whole point is, everybody thought that they would lose the Battle of Fort McHenry, or a lot of people thought that, you know. And so they're on the ship all through the night, and they had just invented this new kind of rocket that would like light up the sky when it was fired. Okay, and so they're firing at the fort, and the reason they didn't win is because the bay was very shallow and they couldn't get the ships close enough. Okay, so they have this fort. Okay, McHenry, but you know, many people were not expecting to win. Okay, so they're on this ship and they have the flag flying, and they're like, "Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? The flag, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air," because the only time they could see that the flag was still up was when they shot these brand new kind of rockets they had, and they lit up the sky, "gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that Star Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?" Well, yes, it does. And may we keep it the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Memorial Day.